House of Representatives. I was a lawyer for Congress for 14 years. Basically, in 2 minutes, one of the greatest dangers that we all know is the growth of the administrative state, the shift in power from elected representatives passing laws to bureaucrats imposing them by decree. Trump is trying to undo that, but he can only do it for 6 more years. He can't do it permanently. So there's a project now that has the unanimous endorsement of the Republican National Committee, that Mike Pence was the first governor to support, that Ted Cruz was the first senator to support, and it's been endorsed by 29 state legislative chambers all over the country. And it's called the Regulation Freedom Amendment. And very simply, it would require that major new federal regulations be approved by Congress so that we can preserve the regulatory reforms that have been done by this administration that have given us record prosperity, record job creation, and record creation of wealth for families all over the country. So the question is, how do we do it? How do you get a constitutional amendment in a Congress that's deadlocked? And the answer was suggested by Ed Meese several years ago. Every time in American history that 2/3 of the states and a majority of the public have favored a specific constitutional amendment, Congress has proposed it. We have polls that show that by 2-1, voters would favor requiring Congress to approve regulations. Of the 62 legislative chambers that are controlled by Republicans, 29 have already endorsed this amendment. And we need 67 to get to 2/3, but we're well on the way. We think next year we can make a fundamental issue that Americans have to vote on. Do you think that bureaucrats ought to have more power to run this country, or should the people have more power? And if we can get Republican elected officials to unite around curbing bureaucrats the way 30 years ago they united around a pledge not to increase taxes, we can help every Republican candidate on the ballot and create the kind of energy that will force this to happen. So what do I want you to do? Very, very simple thing. I'd like everybody in this room to pick either Governor DeSantis or Senator Rubio or Senator Scott and ask them a very simple question, which is on this card. What do you think of the effort to curb federal regulators that's been endorsed by the Republican National Committee with the approval of the White House and by conservatives like Ed Meese? It's all on this card. What do you think? Please give me an answer. And if you want more information, you can email me. My information is on this card. You're going to have all kinds of detailed information. But if people in this room will each make one phone call to a Republican elected official, to Rubio, to Scott, to DeSantis, or Brian Mast, and ask where they stand, we can help build a united Republican front in favor of curbing federal regulators. We can help re-elect Trump. We can help re-elect Republican candidates. And eventually we can curb the administrative state and restore representative government to this country. Did I do that in 2 minutes?